Now, this date with Cynthia and Andre, I thought it was a really sweet date. I thought we saw a really nice side to Cynthia. I really empathized with her when she started crying because you know what? This is a lady that's trying to change. And those tears were tears of saying change is hard. And what Cynthia was saying, which a lot of women I think out here feel, I think her story is going to resonate with a lot of women. Cynthia is saying, I've had to be this strong woman out here because I've had to be. Maybe because she's had bad relationships. Maybe because she's had to be a single mother and she's had to be strong for her children. She's had to do a lot of things on her own. Who knows? Maybe she's a caretaker even in her own family with her parents or her siblings. Who knows the burden she's been carrying? But what she's saying, when I see those tears in her eyes and she crying the way she was crying, because those weren't no fake tears. She was really, really crying, y'all. I see a woman who's tired. I see a woman who's saying, I don't want to do this anymore. I want help. I want someone in my life. And what she's saying is, but it's also going to take some work for her to get rid of some old habits. And she says, I want to get rid of these old habits because it's not serving me well. To me, these tears are no different from any other person trying to get rid of a bad habit, whether it's smoking or drinking or any bad habit where you say to yourself, this habit that I've had for all these years is not serving me well in my life now. And in fact, it's keeping me from going where I need to go. But I'm wrapped up in this habit. And although I'm trying to do better, I fall back in my old ways. And so I need a person who's going to be patient with me. I need a person who's going to help me get rid of this bad habit that I cannot necessarily do it on my own. And I don't want you to throw me away just because I'm not all the way there yet. That's what I see in Cynthia. I see a woman who is trying to change, who wants to change, but also wants to be truthful and let you know that, listen, I'm trying to go somewhere, but I'm not all the way there yet. So I want a man who's willing to go on the journey with me to, take me by his side and help me get there because it's really where I want to go. And that's what the tears were for. The tears were for the pain. The tears were for the acknowledgement that it is hard to do. It is hard to change things about yourself. That's why a lot of women and people, they don't want to change. They want to come into new relationships and they want to say, you know what, I don't want to change. I just want you to accept me as I am. Because you know what? Putting all the work on someone else to accept you as you are is easy because you don't have to change. You could put all the work on them to take it, for them to come up with coping mechanisms to deal with you. So they're doing all the work, figuring out how to deal with you. But the hard work is you changing so that everybody doesn't have to deal with you. And it's hard. And let me tell you, that could evoke tears in you. And I saw that in Cynthia. Cynthia actually is really one of my favorite people on the show of this season because this woman is in a moment of growth and change. She is trying to change. Sure, she's healing old wounds, but at least she is acknowledging the wounds, and she's also acknowledging the work that it takes to heal old wounds. You got a lot of people who got wounds that don't want to acknowledge it. They in denial, and then they don't even want to do the work to heal the old wounds. They want you to do all the work to accept the old wounds. I like Cynthia, and I like the way that Andre listened to her and showed empathy. He even gave her his sleeve when she was crying because she was a boo-hooing. Maybe Cynthia is the one I'm going to have to put in the room to cut off that. But you know what? If this is Andre's strength, and this is what gives Andre the compassion and empathy that he gave to Cynthia, then you know what? I'll let him keep his little curl. I'll let him keep his little curl. Maybe he and Blake can form a little 90s band. Blake with the Gumby haircut and him with this. And I don't know, Belle Biv the Bow, Boys to Men. We'll call it something. But I like their date. And I really like to see that vulnerable side of Cynthia. And then when they were in the deliberation room and she was even about to cry again, when she was telling Tommy about the time I cried, she was about to cry then because she probably never cries. She probably was like, I'm talking about a time when I was crying and I'm bringing up the situation again and you cry again on that. I can empathize with that. I'm telling you, Cynthia is trying to kill something inside of her that she doesn't want to carry anymore into this next phase of her life. And she is acknowledging the pain. I think her story is going to help a lot of women. And if she's got to cry a lot on the screen to get rid of all that stuff that's in her, go ahead, girl. Let it out. At least she's not doing the type of crying that the flower girl did last year. The girl last year, she had a lot of trauma and she was crying all the time, but she was running around blaming everybody else. See, that's what I don't like. I don't like people who have trauma and fear, but then they're blaming you for everything. And they're making you, putting you on the defense, saying you're supposed to coddle me. You're supposed to do all this. No, Cynthia was crying, but she wasn't putting any of that on other people. She wasn't blaming anybody. She wasn't telling people the way they was treating her. She was owning her own stuff. And that's what I liked about her. So I'm okay with her crying because she wasn't trying to make other people feel guilty. She wasn't trying to make other people do just something different. She was like, I'm owning my stuff. I am owning my stuff.